Friday reports the rabbits are near Four Corners, killing as they come. Other companies are setting up machine gun sites outside of Ajo.
Welcome, yes, the night that welcomes horror. And dude, we got a doozy for you if you like those little furry bunnies. But before we get into this crazy fucking film, 1972, yes, we're going back in time once again because when we decided to make the list for this series, this is one that we talked about quickly to bring in. So
Oh
before
yeah.
we get more in depth, my boy Radar, horror author extraordinaire. The man writes more books than I can freaking write one sentence, but he's keeping it going. Support him and understand that this guy is an up and coming horror author who's gonna mesmerize and amaze you with the stuff he writes. Radar, my boy, how are you doing?
Doing all right, JR. I mean, we're both definitely feeling a hell of a lot better after watching this, whatever you want to call it. I feel like film might be too nice.
Yeah, I got a feeling like when we were talking, this film was originally supposed to be called Night of the Leaper. It was supposed to be a different story from what I read. The guy spilled coffee on the script, and it changed Leaper to Lepus, and he was like, let's do a film about fucking killer rabbits. Let me say it again, fucking killer rabbits.
Which I mean, based on this film, yeah, that tracks. It absolutely tracks. And it's just so astounding that like for this, and again, this is just a thing where they're just like, yep, giant killer rabbits. They're not trying to hide it. It's not like it's trying to be highbrow or something. And they managed to get Janet Leigh in this movie. Jamie Lee Curtis's mom is in this movie, and she's like a bona fide actress.
Yeah, I
And
think she won an Oscar, right? She was an Oscar
I think
winner.
so. But yeah, it's wild. And they have a few other actors that are like, these are legitimate actors. These, how did they get these? How did they pull these people?
It must have been a slow year for making movies. I don't know.
I guess
'Cause,
72
yeah,
must have been bad.
I mean, yeah, we have her, who, from what I read, is the reason she did the film is because it was being filmed close to her house. Which, I mean, if you want it, not for none, if you want a reason to do a film and just say, fuck it, yeah, if it's being filmed close to your house, why not? She wanted to be close to her kids. That's what
Fair
one of the
enough.
reasons, which, I mean, it was bold for her to do it, but at this point, she was so, established that, you could have one of those fucking movies. So that's what it was. And then we had DeForest Kelly. Everybody knows him as Leonard McCoy in Star Trek. I mean, what do you think he was thinking? From going to like doing stuff from deep into space to be like, hey, you want to do this rabbit movie?
I feel like he's got to be at least, he had to be somewhat disappointed because it's like Star Trek is a pretty high point. I don't know if Star Trek was as beloved then as it is now, but still to go like, here's this regular show you are a part of, where it's like you can tell, sure, there's some cheesiness in it, but it has some like good messaging, there's character development, all this stuff. And then just like 3 years later, you're doing freaking Night of the Lepus. You're
And then to top it off, he played the same role, a doctor, kind of.
yeah, yeah, he
Listen,
did.
I mean, during the film, he was more known. Listen to the sound of the bats. Did you hear that?
Right.
I mean, this film, yeah. So if you never heard of this film, go watch. It's currently streaming on Plex. So stop watching this because I hope we don't ruin it for you.
I don't know how.
Yeah. So go watch the film before you continue. Streaming on Plex. But this whole film is about a plague of rabbits. And then, we get Stuart Whitman, who plays Roy. and his wife, Janet Leigh, who plays Jerry Bennett, they get called into. I mean, I think their expertise was bats
I
and
think it was
insects,
just
I believe.
animals. They were just
Yeah.
like, but it is wild. I do have to point it out that like they're supposed to be like researchers and they're supposed to be really humane. And the first scene we see of Roy is him just grabbing bats out of a net and throwing him in a cage and then fucking shaking it. I'm like, this is the humane guy?
Yeah, and then so there, what happens in the film is in order for them to stop this whole spread of this rabbit plague, they decide they're going to play with Mother Nature, and then lo and behold, their daughter switches to rabbits. Which, let me tell you, this film has so many bad decisions being made,
So
bad parenting, but it just brought on more of the craziness because while they do genetic modifying, somehow, some way, that one rabbit ended up just, I guess, I don't know, he must have spread himself among,
super spreader right there.
yeah, which is, I'm glad they didn't get into that what happened, what so many rabbits, but the fact that he created this new breed of freaking giant rabbits. So the movie begins with a whole thing about like a whole newsreel
Yeah.
about this plague all around the world. Which, I mean, it's not the first question, but what did you think about that whole? I mean, because it looked like animal cruelty the way they were dealing with these rabbits.
Yeah, well, so there is some historical context to it because like in the Midwest, like in Kansas, I remember learning about this in high school. Is like there have been like outbreaks, scourges of rabbits that have happened in the Midwest in the past, and the way they took care of them is they just chased after him and rounded him up and then just beat him to death with sticks. And that's how they fucking handled it. So I mean, like seeing it like on the newscast, I was like, yeah, that tracks. They would do it.
I mean, you figured you would at least keep them around for food or something, because the way they were spreading quickly, that's help feed poverty.
Right. Free meals.
Yeah, free meals. So one of the beginning sequences of this film that kind of I have to talk about is when we first see the mutation, and you have this truck driver who, ironically, this is the irony of it, he had carrots, basically a skid of carrots. I mean, but we get to see the first introduction to the mutated rabbits. I mean, what did you think about that whole like truck scene?
I won't lie. While I was watching the film, and that scene happened. I was like, I cannot wait to talk about this with JR because I mean, God dang, every second of that scene was just ridiculous. I don't know why that truck driver had such a finely coiffed mustache. Like it was like one of those twirl mustaches, and I was like, "This his mustache game is immaculate." I don't know why though. And then the absolute way he screams. I mean, oh my god, what'd you think of that scream?
I was looking for the woman that did this because that was the highest pitched scream I ever heard coming from a man in a horror movie. Because the way he yelled, I had to rewind it to make sure I was hearing right. I mean, did this dude just yell like that? And it was hysterical.
Oh man, and just the way it cut too was like, oh, beautiful. No notes here. No notes. They know their limitations and they're like, and the way they do it too, you think, oh, they're gonna wait a while, to show these rabbits, with that first scene. But then no, they just like the next scene after that, they're like, nah, actually, we're just gonna show them anyways.
Do you know what had me laughing though? A lot. And once again, I had to rewind a couple of times. When they find the body and they call it in, and the police captain comes, police chief, whatever he was,
Yeah.
and they go, "I never seen a mutilated body like that." They show the body, the whole thing's intact. Like, at the fucking time I
Yeah.
mutilated. The dude had one cut here, one cut on his leg, one cut on his. That how's that mutilated?
I will say I think that this is the perfect example of one of those movies where it's like they didn't invest in like the gore or anything. So if you watch it, all you're gonna see is just like them squirting the really bright red blood, and it's just sitting on top, and you're like, okay, I'm supposed to pretend this person's dead, I guess.
And then the funny part is they go, "Oh, we have another one. We have another family." And they're just all laid on. They're mutilated too. I'm like, they're all intact. I mean, this is one of those things where if you want to save money, don't show it. Let people imagine that they're mutilated, because the first thing you're thinking about, all right, those rabbits got some strong ass teeth.
Yeah.
But then you're showing us intact body, which didn't make sense. And then to top it off, I mean, I got to ask you about this too, though. I mean, the noise and the roar the rabbits were making when they were running. And what do you thought of that?
I mean, look, the sound effects guy is not, he's not taking home an Oscar for this one. It's certainly, can I say weak point of the movie? But it's like, do you really on? So much is going on, you don't give a shit. And I have a feeling you didn't either.
No. You know what it reminded me of? I think it was Jaws 4.
Oh God, the Revenge or whatever.
The Revenge. When they electrocute the shark and all of a sudden he sounds like Godzilla. It just didn't make any sense for those sound effects to be brought in. And then not for nothing, but if you're in the middle of a desert road, I'm sure you could feel the vibrations of something running towards you when they're that big.
Yeah, and there's that many of them.
And he's like with the flashlight this way, then he looks this way, then he looks that way, and then the rabbit is like right behind him the whole time. You're like, dude,
come on.
And then I don't know if you noticed this though, when the cops arrive and when they discover the body, did you notice that the two doors of the truck weren't even open? They're like one of them was still like closed. So you're like, how the fuck did the rabbits just pull it out without damage? I mean, granted, you're not supposed to take this movie seriously off the bat. That's just one. Do not take this movie seriously at all.
Please do not take it seriously.
There's a thing that we talk about, suspend belief. I mean, just put the belief in a coma, because
you're gonna need that.
Yeah, you're gonna need that. So one of the scenes I want to get really, really deep into, because I think it's one of the most hysterical, and this shows you the whole thought process of all these characters. Now, Roy's daughter, once again, bad parenting. Takes off with Cole's son on a horse, and he goes, let's go to the mine.
Which is wild.
They go to the mine, and this kid, which, I'm sorry, man, you felt like it was almost a setup. He goes, oh, there's a guy that lives here. You go check in the mine. I'm going to check in this little hut that's right here that only has one window. And then the girl goes in there, and then she sees the rabbits, goes through this whole traumatic experience. But then they decide to go back and discover what's inside, the mine. Now, I'm just going to let you jump on this first, because I want to hear all your thoughts about the mine scene, from the minute they enter the mine till the explosives that they set. I mean, what did you think about that whole scene?
I mean, again, I feel like it's a comedy of errors, just like every second of it. And it's so fun. And that's when you really get to see the rabbits, and you're just like, oh, this is all forced perspective. They just literally did close-ups of these rabbits to make them look bigger. And you're like, all right, this is what we're getting here. And it's that it's that same technique that they use like in the 50s if they want to do a giant like bug movie or something. They're like just shoot up really close to those rabbits, and you're like, okay, this is what we're gonna have. And I can't remember who gets attacked in the shack, but
It was I think it was Roy. No,
oh,
Cole
oh,
gets
Cole.
attacked first.
There we
Yeah.
go. Yeah,
Oh
it
no,
just
I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. No, it was the guy that was outside, right?
yeah, the guy who's outside. I can't remember his name for the life of me, but just like again, just really seeing the lack of special effects come in there. This dude is like getting ravaged by like a rabbit, and he's just like the whole time, and then like they chase the rabbit off, and he's just nope, he's got ketchup on him. That's all. What was your favorite part of that like whole sequence? Because there's so many dumb ones to choose from.
This part had me laughing. I couldn't stop laughing at the decision of this. Was when they look at the footprints and they have what's his name? Elgin Clark is up top with another guy setting explosive on the 3 massive rabbit holes they see. And that scene had me dying. The fact that it's just to show you the special effects of this film. You see them looking down the rabbit hole, and they had covered almost like a different, like to look at like if you were inside the rabbit hole itself. And then they dropped a rock, and you see it actually alter in shape and forming. I mean, I'm like, why? Just have a hole and just have them. It was like poor choice. So they're like, all right, we got the explosive set. Oh, yeah. Then to top it off, he puts the recording. Oh, do you hear this? Do you hear? It sounds like a lot of them.
Sounds like a lot of them.
So what does Roy tell Cole? Don't detonate explosives yet. I want to go drag one out. What?
What are you doing?
You want to drag one out? I'm sitting there like, this dude, first of all, he started this shit. Second of all, for a doctor, whatever he was dumb as fuck.
Dumb.
And then they go in there, and he goes in there with Cole, and it sounds like they're coming over here. So they keep going towards it. So, oh my God, there's a lot of them. And then they run out and they get lost. They don't even know how they
right. They get lost, which is wild.
Oh my God. And then they detonate the mine, which I'm thinking, all right, this is kind of dumb because these things dig holes for their life, so they're going to find a way out. I mean, it was just like one thing after another. You're like, these guys are just fucking dumb.
So stupid. And it's such a, well, again, the movie itself is dumb. So it makes perfect sense. But like, again, the suspension of disbelief, you got to just, with the script, the idea, every element of this film, you just have to go like, you just have to take your mind and just dumb it down to the lowest setting.
Yeah.
No thought. And this is the perfect, like, what was guilty pleasure or like, nice little quick snack film where you're like, I just want to put something on, turn off my head. This does it. And that sequence is a prime example of it. I do have to give credit to one team here on this film, and that's whoever built the miniatures.
Yes.
Because they are impeccable. They are impeccable. Because if they weren't doing just like this super close-up shots of these rabbits, they were having them just run on the set of like miniature sets, and the miniatures looked really good.
Yeah, the mine shaft looked good when they were running out of the mine shaft.
Yeah.
I gave you credit. That look. I agree with that.
Yeah, and like the few times they did the miniature stuff, I was like, oh, this like whoever. I cannot believe this poor soul had to spend probably weeks building this shit to just have some rabbits run through it later on. Yeah,
which he probably got most of the $900,000 budget probably to make this film. He or she.
I would hope.
Yeah, I mean, they were probably the best thing of this film. But all right, you know what? Let's talk the rabbits. What do you think about the cute fuzzy wuzzy bunnies?
I mean, it's very clear these are regular ass rabbits. But I have to bring this up because I was not expecting to see so many stuffed animals as I did, because like there's one scene where it's like I think it's Roy, and I can't remember who else or whose house they're at, but the rabbits break in, and like Roy and the other guy are down in the basement, and they have their guns and they're shooting up through the floor, and it's so hilarious when it goes from these regular rabbits, and then it cuts to them, and they shoot up through the floorboard, and then it goes back to like one of the rabbits getting hit, and it's clearly just a stuffed animal that they kind of tossed in the air with some like fake blood on it, and goes
ketchup, man. There's a lot of ketchup in this film.
It's just like this. It's completely lying flat, just being tossed in the air, and they keep doing it. They did it like 6 times in that scene.
Did you see the rabbit that was next to the rabbit that got shot?
Well, then it
go back and watch it. He had this look on his face, he's like, "Oh shit!" He just like runs out. The look on the rabbit's face when it happened, like, "Oh shit!"
It's just these are real. That's so hilarious. It's such a it's supposed to be a tense, but just like watching these obviously fake rabbits get kind of tossed in the air a little bit is absolutely bonkers. What did you think of the rabbits' overall performance for the movie, I guess?
I like the rabbit that jumped in through the window to attack the lady who was working at the general store.
I forgot about that. That's right.
That shit had me laughing. She's like, ah! Also, you see the rabbit just go through the window and just take her down. I'm like, oh my god, that was funny as hell. And then the other scene that had me laughing. So remember when Cole's back home and he has the dogs outside barking like crazy?
Yeah.
So then this is the funny part. You hear the sounds of this like rabbit stampede. And for them to not actually feel the vibrations on the ground, I'm like, really? So the horses all escape, right? So the rabbits eventually go after the horses. Now, I do want you to go back and watch this because this was funny as fuck. So the rabbits, if you see that little scene we have below, that's the rabbits looking down at the horses as the horses are running. The rabbit in the middle, they do a close-up shot. It licked its lips and then jumped, and all the horses got destroyed.
Decimated. That
had me laughing. I'm like, holy! I rewind and pause it. Did this rabbit lick his lips before it attacked the freaking? I wonder if they had a carrot or something to make it jump.
Something that, or they just like sat there for a couple hours and were like, "Come on, do something. We just need a money shot."
Oh my god! But the fact that it licked its lips, that was just too much.
Oh man!
The one thing I wish they would have did though, and I think it would have made the movie more interesting, is, do you remember the movie Ben?
With the guy who loves the rats and stuff,
and the fact that you had that one rat, Ben, who was the one that controlled all the other rats. So you would have thought that the rabbit that she released should have been more prominent because he got lost in the mix. Like, you didn't know.
No idea.
And I wish they would have kind of kept it with that one rabbit, being the main, because like you didn't even know who the hell was leading the pack. They're just these fuckers just running the whole time.
Yeah, just constant.
And you don't even know where they're running to. And I mean, it was just, I wish they would have did more with that, but I understand with the budget and the times and the fact that the whole script was a mistake.
Literally was a mistake.
But there's something about this film too that is, I mean, all bad films and all good films have one thing. It's this climatic ending. So what did you think of the end battle of these rabbits against fucking Roy and everybody else.
Right.
But one thing was
what-
funny before I said that though, the fact that how you have the military come in,
Yeah.
say
Oh,
we don't have
military.
enough soldiers. All right, I'll leave it there. Hey, go ahead.
Oh man, it to me, I don't know if you felt the same way, but to me, it felt like it kind of just like the ending came out of nowhere. Like where you're like, normally in films, there's a little bit of a buildup, you know, where you got 5 or 10 minutes where they're kind of like planning stuff, but that's not what happens here. It's just like they're like, we're gonna do this, and then literally the next scene, it's like, oh, they're doing it. They're absolutely doing it, and it's oh my. And again, the stuffed animals come out in full force. And I was wondering which do you like more? The rabbits being shot or the rabbits getting electrocuted?
I prefer the rabbits getting shot because the electrocution made them seem like they were dumb as hell. I mean, first of all, they're rabbits, so they could jump over.
They could.
The railroad. I mean, they could jump over. And the fact that they were jumping onto it, it just didn't make any sense to me. And the hysterical part is when they're all dead, you have here's the railroad car, the railroad. You got some all the way the hell back here, just laid out. I'm like, really? I mean, I feel like they got to the point in the movie they said, all right, we got to wrap this up. All right, fuck it, this is what we're gonna do. You know?
It does feel like that because it's like, and it goes on for a hot minute. It's like 3 minutes of just constant unloading on fake rabbits and them running into this like electrified railway car and getting fried. And it's like, damn, when is this gonna end? For a little bit there.
And then Roy's with his revolver shooting. And
oh my gosh!
That remind me. I don't know. There's a movie. I'm not sure if you watched it. It's called Harlem Nights.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a Richard Pryor movie. It's Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, and it's hysterical. So there's a scene in the movie where Arsenio Hall's character is going after Eddie Murphy for killing his brother.
Mm-hmm.
So here they are, all with Tommy guns, just shooting towards Eddie Murphy. And there's a guy with a small gun, just pop, 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 pop. And after a while, Arsenio Hall's character got so mad, he's like, "What are you doing with that little fucking thing?" Because they all got machine guns. This dude with a little revolver, never reloaded. And then the scene that, like, I wonder why they did it. Is they're showing basically the breaker,
right?
Start sparking. You're like, all right, is it gonna just like explode before all these rabbits all come around? Or
that's what I thought too was gonna happen.
Yeah, they like teased it, and then no, it didn't happen. Eventually, once the last rabbit died, it just stopped sparking.
Well, because it was so funny because they kept cutting back to it, and it's like, guys, this is what normally happens when a breaker like it goes when it busts, but you keep showing it every like 10 seconds.
It was fun. Oh, I gotta say one credit. Credit to the Officer Lopez because he lived. I was like, hey, there's the Lopez in the movie.
Hey,
not related, but it was kind of cool seeing a Lopez in a movie that actually survived. So that was pretty funny. But
nice to see.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just like, so they get. I'm like hopping out. From what I read, there was actually a lot of this film that was totally deleted because they had a lot of aerial scenes with the copter, but MGM decided, well, this is too much aerial views. Let's just cut them out. I'm like, all right. So I'm thinking like that would have been cool if they would have pulled off an aerial view showing all the rabbits running. And the fact that they made the decision to cut that when the movie probably needed that, because the when they got to the helicopter, it didn't make sense. What was the point of the helicopter at all? Because they went back to the mine. We know the rabbits are not in the mine, but they went back to the mine, which didn't make sense. You figure if they would have aerial view showing maybe I know the rabbits ran at night, but we never got to see the massacre of the horses or what was left behind. And then I just think it would have made it a little bit better of the film. But yeah, I mean,
interesting. Studio interference yet again.
Yeah, and the fact too that every time they had the rabbits with the blood, Yes, that was ketchup. I wonder who was the
Obviously.
ketchup company that supplied all the ketchup for this film. I hope they
I
got
was-
reimbursed or some
Sure,
commercials or something.
something because it's not in the film, like it's not advertised in the film, whoever that ketchup company is.
If they should have. That would have been cool.
I,
Do you know that in the Matrix, the scene where Neo goes visits the Oracle
Mhm.
on the TV screen, this movie's playing. So if you want to go back to watch the Matrix to see that they paid homage to this movie, it was fucking playing when Neo went to go visit the Oracle.
Well, of all the films,
All the films, yeah. We're gonna put the rabbits, and then there's a kid watching the film.
it's it's so funny because they're at different ends of the spectrum in terms of quality. So it's just great, you know. Oh man, and the way this movie ends is like they just kind of forgot or something, or they're just like, what do we do? You know, it seems like they felt like, oh, the big shootout is going to be the ending and it'll just end abruptly. And then I guess maybe the studio came and went, hey, we need something else here. And just like afterwards, it's very awkward.
Roy playing football.
You were playing football, badly playing
Oh yeah,
football.
oh yeah. I mean, and then they show the two rabbits. Come on.
Come on.
I mean, Jesus. And then, all right, I gotta ask you this question because I brought it up in the beginning. How stupid was it that Roy and Jerry were the cause of all this, and they did not even get in trouble?
It's wild because they killed, like, the rabbits killed at least a good dozen people and so much property damage. It is wild that they just not even a slap on the wrist, you know.
Like nothing at all. I'm sitting there thinking, like, if I was Cole, I'd be really pissed off that this dude just because of him, I lost all my horses. He even said at the end, "Oh, it's going to take a couple years to recover." Well, make this fucker pay for it because it's his fault.
Yeah.
You know,
You're a farmer. Margins aren't that big.
yeah, because even
You know.
the guy who ran the university, oh, we can't let this get out. You know what's going to happen to us? And all of a sudden, this dude's a fucking hero.
Yeah,
No,
it's like nothing will
should have
happen
gotten
to
arrested. First of all, he broke, genetics code, and he was splicing DNA and stuff like that. So I'm sorry, he should have gotten arrested or something, or maybe one of the rabbits killed him.
It is wild though that they're just like, okay. It's like, guys, think of how many millions of dollars were like wasted putting down this thing. You know,
Oh,
it just all the stuff that got destroyed along the way, and just to go, it is hilarious though to have them start by going like, oh, we can't let this get out. You know, and then they're like, well, we need to own up and take responsibility for this, like it's some big thing. And then Roy's playing football at the end of the movie.
Oh, he played, and then to top it off, Cole finds them all in this the warehouse or something. And he calls the cop. Yeah, they're all in the warehouse. Fucking blow that shit up or put it on fire.
Yeah, what are you doing?
And the fact that he walked over there, you're like, dude, really? And the whole time they can't hear you and chase you. And then the fact that they were eating like lettuce, and the lettuce was like so small. Big ass rabbits eating this freaking lettuce. But yeah, this movie, I'm glad we did this movie because
I'm so glad.
so far we've done 2 different shows. There's always this one film that we're like, hey, let's fucking do it, man, because let's talk about it.
Let's do this. Yeah, you got to have one cotton candy stupid film, and this is certainly that. But I mean, anyone who read that title and then looked up the premise would go, oh yeah, that's fair.
And did you know, like, some of the early movie posters, they didn't have one single rabbit on there?
That's wild. What?
They
Like they were trying to hide it or something?
Trying to hide because they didn't want this whole thing about the rabbits and stuff. And you're like, come on, man. I mean, it was actually MGM that did this film, so we know how they are sometimes.
They think they're above the fray.
Oh, so the guy who got attacked by the rabbit was called Jed. His name was Jed, and Jed was the one that when he was with Cole took the truck and took off,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
and then he just happened to drive to the stampede of fucking rabbits. Once again, bad decision.
Bad decision. It was so funny too, where like, because I remember the line too as Jed drives off. Someone's like, "Oh, you can't blame him with the day he's had," and then he just gets absolutely wrecked 10 seconds later.
Jesus Christ, man. I mean, this was a good film. I'm glad we did it. Ironically, the next film we'll be doing is Prom Night with Jamie Lee Curtis in it.
Woo!
So that's kind of weird how that lined up pretty good. You know, mom in one movie, daughter in the other.
A coincidence?
Yeah, we didn't even plan it right.
Yeah, actually, a coincidence. We're not that smart, guys.
No, we're not. I mean, if we were smart, you think we'd be talking about? We gotta talk about this movie. Come on, chances are you guys are all gonna see it, and hopefully, you know, if anybody's still alive that was a part of this movie, hopefully they, you know, they'll let us know what they think about our review. No, we didn't. You know, it's a film that you know you just go for fun, so we didn't really go hard at it. We just enjoyed it, and we had fun talking about it.
Sometimes you got to have one of those, and this is that film for sure. MGM, hit us up to so you can get some more revenue from this bad boy.
And please let us know. Do you like ketchup?
Who was the ketchup?
Yes, let us know. If you want to sponsor our show, we will sponsor the hell your ketchup because we want to know who was the ketchup company that donated all their free ketchup to this, because that was a lot of ketchup.
A lot of ketchup.
And whoever was this, you know, like the guy who deals with like, you know, the not the special effects, more like just the design of the mutilated bodies. Yeah, we want to know what you were thinking. Or did the studio not give you? Yeah, or did the studio not give you enough money to actually do a mutilated body? I mean, you could have had a head. You didn't have to go just show the whole body. But hey, we're not nitpicking. We enjoyed this movie. It is a fun watch. Let's be honest. It's so stupid. It's fun to watch.
That's the way I like them.
All right. Till next time. That's my boy Radar. Please continue supporting. Buy his books. Let us know what you think about his books on this show. Leave a comment below. He will reply. So if you want to leave a review or anything, yeah, let us know. And if you want to know what he's writing next, just follow him on his social media, because he does a lot of videos and he drops a lot of teasers. So I'm sure he has about 15 books ready to go, and I'm still working on paragraph 1.
We all go at our own pace, bud.
All right, till next time, Radar, JR, the night welcomes horror here on Horror Fiend TV. Till next time, peace.